Okay. Hey guys, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. It is Ty, and welcome back to my channel, you guys. It is 11:25 or 11:23. I have an eyelash in my eye, and I have very, sensitive eyes. So I'm just trying to get this eyelash out of my eye. Hey, I hope you guys are having a good day so far. I think today is Sunday. And today is April 3rd, 2022. So welcome back to my channel. So I just want to start off by saying that I'm trying to get this eyelash on my eye so I can say what I need to say, and that I'm extremely grateful to be making this video. So for those of you who are just stopping by, I just want to say welcome. On this channel, I am just a messenger, and that's what I'm going to continue to say in all my videos. So that being said, as a spiritual healer, intuitive leader, inspirational teacher, I suggest and advise information. I do not tell people what to do, and I do not tell people how to feel. So that being said, because I suggest and advise information, I can only speak from a place of experience. If I'm not speaking from a place of experience, I do like to educate the collective and anybody who chooses to come across this page. And how I go about educating the collective and anybody who chooses to come across this page is to use informative information, is to use natural resources, and to provide you guys with history as well as education. And the purpose of me informing you all with information and with education is for people to internalize, for you to process, and for you to make your own decisions in your own form of judgment. So really quickly, you guys, excuse me, I'm just gonna make a thumbnail and let people know that I'm currently on live on my social media. So if you are returning, make sure you're following me on my Instagram and my Twitter at Ty_guidance and my personal page at Ty_vote. So I'm just going to start off by saying this video is going to be different. And this month, even though it's only been 3 days, even this month is going to be very interesting. The year of 2022 is going to be interesting. So for today's video, the title that I labeled it as is, I believe, what did I label this video? Today is the only day. So I'm just gonna wait a moment or two, maybe like a couple minutes, and allow people to join if they choose to. And then once people decide to join, I will continue to start this video. So really quickly, once again, if you are returning, thank you so much for being patient. Thank you so much for those of you who have your notifications on and who are currently subscribed. And if this is your first time here, welcome. On this channel, I'm going to continue to try my best not to use profanity and educate the collective by giving you guys information that can be proven. And the reason why, most importantly, I feel like it is important to educate people with information for them to do the research on, is not only for their personal development and their growth, but for them to have the decision and the choice to decide if they want to have decisions and if they want to have choices. Because when it comes to life, there is no right or wrong way to experience it. So, on this channel, I can only represent my physical self in the physical world as a spiritual being. I'm a spirit who possesses a soul inside of a vessel. So, with that being said, I do have certain experiences and opportunities and a vision and knowledge that everyone doesn't have. And because I'm aware of the opportunities and experiences, I feel like it's important, like I said, to educate people and not just speak, excuse me, from a place of opinion as well as information that may not be relevant. Because when it comes to interpreting, processing, or engaging, or even understanding information, it's up for people to decide one, if these messages and these videos resonate with them, and if they want to apply information. You can learn something new every day. You can watch something new every day. You can do something every single day. It doesn't mean that you retained, that you were able to process, that you are aware, or you understand. And I can say that because every single day, as human beings, most people who live in society who are conditioned to work or to do things repetitively are doing them just because they're been trained and programmed to do so or to believe so. And the reason why I labeled the title for today, being today, I think is the only day, is because today is the only day. There is no tomorrow and there is no yesterday. So I'm just going to wait and let people know. I'm going to go on my Instagram really quickly and go live for a moment briefly. And then I'm going to continue to post for the video. It says that it's checking the connection. So right now, I'm currently live on my Instagram, which is Thai_guidance. And I'm on live on YouTube. So today is the only day. And once again, this video is going to be different. So if you're catching it live, thank you so much for being patient. And if you're just stopping by, this is your first time here, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, I just want to start off by saying thank you. And that this video, like I said, is going to be slightly different. It already is different. I am in a different space, I guess mentally. But because I'm in a different space mentally, I want to, one, continue to go with the flow. It is physically considered to be a new month. And something that I like to do, or something that I did, excuse me, because I like to grow every single moment while I'm here, is to educate myself and grow. And in order for me to educate myself, in order for me to grow, I have to be mindful of how I speak. I have to be mindful of how I communicate. I have to be mindful of how I choose to, process information. And with that being said, today is the only day because now is the only thing that matters. So, good evening or good afternoon to Bryson Jackson, you guys. I am extremely grateful for Bryson Jackson. I love him supernaturally and abundantly a lot. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day, evening, or morning, or afternoon, regardless of where you are. So, with today being the only day that is the only thing that actually exists and matters, as this physical month is continuing to go on, I've been led, I feel like, in my spirit to just let people know that as we continue to go with the flow, that we do not need to worry. And now you may ask, why would I not worry if I have all of these physical problems? So let's just say you have financial problems. Let's just say you have physical problems. Let's just say financially you are suffering. It's not to say that all of those things are not occurring, but most importantly, they're only occurring because of how you choose to interpret your situation, how you choose to feel about the situation, and how you choose to handle the situation. I'm good. How's your evening going? I'm glad to hear. Did you do anything interesting today, or are we just still continuing to relax, enjoy ourselves? But me, I am doing well. I'm doing better. I'm doing better. Physically, just like everyone else, I had to get a CAT scan on my stomach. Okay. And tomorrow morning I have to get some blood drawn. 'Cause like I said, I too, like everyone else, are experiencing things. But one thing I'm realizing as I continue to experience life and learn to just accept that today is the only day is that I don't need to worry. If tomorrow doesn't exist until physically the next day, what could I be overwhelmed about? Now, once again, because of the conditioning, because of the programming, it is common for us to have a fight or flight reaction to situations. And it's unfortunate that as a species, majority of us only know survival tactics, which means when something is not going in our way, when bad things happen to us, we are either overwhelmed, we have anxiety, we're depressed, we're sad, we're angry. And it's not to say in the physical world that these situations are not physically happening, but when you learn to accept that the only thing that matters is today and the only thing that you can control is your body and how you react and how you handle situations, you will start to one, relax and pace yourself. So, for example, most people who live in cities or small towns cannot control the entire environment. We don't make up the entire population. So, for example, I'm only one person who lives in a city. Now, granted, if I'm exposed to multiple people, their energies, it may be common for me to pick up on. A lot of people may not be aware that when you are around other people, you may be able to sense their energy or the environments around you. Now, of course, with anything physically in life, it could be labeled good or it could be labeled bad. And the reason why I'm very big on getting the collective to be patient with themselves and internally be in tune with their spirit is for you to realize that you cannot control your environment, you cannot control your energies. Now, most people say that but are not aware of that. So, what I mean by that is when things happen to us in the physical, it is our job to control the outcome of the situation. In order for us to move forward, in order for us to heal, in order for us to not feel negative, in order for us to not feel bad, we have to practice reacting as well as responding. And this is something that I am doing this month and the rest of this year because the rest of this year does not exist. And this month, the only day, which is today, is the only thing that matters. Now, of course, physical and man made objects are forms of illusions. So if time is an illusion, If the calendar is illusion, if Monday through Friday, Saturday through Sunday, December through January are all labels in forms of illusion, that means in life, the only thing that matters is where you are right now, physically, of course, because we are not our we are not the world. We are spirits who possess the physical world. So when I say we are not the world, like everybody is an individual because every body is an individual body. In order for us to be a collective, it takes multiple spirits inside of our bodies to exist. And the reason why today is the only day that matters and pacing yourself to be aware of your spirit and not man made time is one, so you cannot be distracted. And two, you realize that a lot of things that are physical and out of your reach are a form of distraction. So being angry is a form of distraction. One thing that I want to say to the collective that I've realized is that I don't believe in the word hate. And what I mean by that is when it comes to any word in the dictionary, in the source, this is why I haven't been reading the words from the dictionary to source. Last year I was reading the words to break it down in general, but I've realized some people in the collective would read certain words and instead of taking the time to see how it resonate with them because they hear something and may not understand, so lack, they would be confused. And the reason why I don't believe in the word hate is because if you do not love yourself, and love is the highest and only form of abundance when it comes to life, you don't hate yourself. You just don't love yourself. It's the opposite. So, of course, like any and everything, you have pros and cons, and you have things that are natural, and then you have things that are opposite of the natural. So, the word hate, the reason why it doesn't process or I don't allow it to sit in my spirit or even use that word in my vocabulary is because it does not exist. One thing that I've had to realize about myself is that nobody hates me. Nobody hates Ty. Nobody hates me. People do not love themselves. And once again, the word love is the only and the highest form of elevation in life, whether it's physical, emotionally, physically, or supernaturally. When somebody does not love themselves, they dislike themselves. And the opposite of love is hate. The opposite of good is bad. The opposite of night is morning. There are balances in the physical and the supernatural world. So the more in tune you are aligned with yourself and you accept that today is the only day, the more you will realize the rhythm and the flow of the actual universe, of the world, and how you, like I said, react and handle yourself. If today isn't great, tomorrow is another day. If today is not great, tomorrow is another day. That's another way to look at it. So if today is not great, tomorrow will be another day. And that in the physical world is I will agree with Bryson Jackson. So I'm going to say, I agree. Or I will put a smiley face. That is a really good way to look at it. Or I would suggest and advise because I don't tell people how to feel just because somebody says something. Like Bryson Jackson is allowed to say whatever he feels to. And me being a supporter of Bryson Jackson, I am Talk Ty and I approve this message. Like the reason why I'm very grateful for the people who subscribe to my channel is because they have experienced, if not the same emotions on a physical level that I used to experience in myself. And the reason why I'm saying used to is because I no longer resonate with who I was when I first started this channel, as well as where I am now. And it doesn't take, like I said, physical or years or even experience to interpret love, which is the highest and the only form of frequency. So if you're not able to accept today, which is the only day that matters, when physically a new day comes tomorrow, you will have the same experiences. And I don't know if a lot of people notice, but in life, the reason why the man made schedule is Monday through Friday, Saturday through Sunday, December through January, is because there is no time. Now, of course, in the physical world, in the physical realm, which a lot of people are currently living in, they need a set of time. But when you live as a spirit and you live at the highest form of your existence, you know that April 3rd, 11:44 p.m. will no longer be in 15 minutes. That's like the minutes, the seconds, and the days. So you mean to tell me that tomorrow is Monday and then the next day is Tuesday? Like, how come we don't have other days? And why is it only 7 days in the week? And the only thing that we change is the physical year. And this goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of this video. We have been conditioned in a cycle. So I don't know if you guys are aware. I think it's like a rat or a mouse. I think it's a mouse. They run on this or a hamster. I think that's the animal. A hamster is constantly on this hamster wheel. So a wheel is something that spins and it turns. And that's why the world, they say, is like a sphere, which has 365 days because it repeats itself. In life, in the physical world, people repeat themselves. We wake up, we eat, we sleep, go to work, we go to bed, and we do the same thing. Now, throughout the day, depending on your physical schedule, you may do things differently. It may not be in a specific set in order, and you may do things out of your schedule. And when you do things out of your schedule, you are realizing that when it comes to the routine of the program that you've been used to and accustomed to, is something that one was never yours, but something that you've gotten adapted to. Now, of course, for some people, depending on where they are in their life, the physical time is extremely necessary because it's necessary for people to grow. I'm not going to sit here and knock anything that's man-made because, like I said, with the sun, there's the moon. With the day, there's the night. With good, there's bad. There's pros, there's cons. One thing that I've realized is that the physical, the spiritual, supernatural, the financial, aligning ourselves is really important. So even though today, physically, is the only day, supernaturally and spiritually, every day is the same. But it balances. And one thing that I'm learning to be in accepting, and the reason why I label today as the only day, is because in life, one thing I want to suggest and advise when it comes to moving forward is learning to be grounded with the two. The physical world does exist. I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like it's not something that is not visible because, for example, my physical body, I'm currently moving, but in the spirit, I'm inside. We as human beings are just that. So it is a lot to process. It is a lot to, I will say, educate yourself on. But me being in the physical, I have been assigned spiritually to educate those. And the purpose of me doing so is because The man-made schedule I no longer resonate with because I know that, like Bryson said, if today is not a great day, tomorrow, which physically will be Monday, is going to continue. And one thing that I really want to suggest and advise is learning to really just be grateful of just waking up. We don't need to be overwhelmed or have anxiety or be depressed or be angry or even be frustrated because that goes back to the cycle. When it comes to having balance, you don't want to be imbalanced. You don't want to worry about tomorrow because tomorrow hasn't happened. And yesterday physically, depending on where you live, was Saturday. Saturday, April 2nd, 2022 is now a moment in history. His story. And that's all that the man-made people have came to the conclusion was a story. So when it comes to life, you don't have to be a his, you could be a her. Make sure you write your story. The goal in life is to write your story. The goal in life is for you to experience. Give me one moment. Give me one moment, you guys. Okay, so got me the rest of my water. But as I just said that verbally out loud, that was a form of confirmation for me. And it doesn't take much or a lot of energy to realize that this world that we live in could be beautiful or it could be ugly. You could be happy or you could be sad. The reason why today is the only day is because, as of right now, depending on where you live, it's only Sunday or Monday, just like any other day. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So when it comes to his story, the projection of life is that we're on this cycle. Now, with anything that is good comes bad. Anything in the physical balances out in the spiritual. And as I'm learning to be grounded with both, because in reality it's just one, but until I am okay with being one, I'm going to speak in the physical. And I'm realizing that most people are in tune with the physical, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the goal for this year, for my collective, anybody who chooses to resonate with me or themselves, because I'm just, a reflection of you, if you choose to process, is to grow and for us to ascend. So the way that I've been posting videos, I can no longer post those videos in the same style, because if I'm going to grow and I want anybody who supports me to grow, I have to play my part. Everybody on this earth has a role. Now, some people are aware of their role, some people aren't. I am one of those people who are aware of their role. And because I care about myself and the people that are around me, I can only do that. So, one thing that I said, which it's really important to be mindful of what you say about yourself, because good or bad, what you say is true. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because this is so much easier said than practiced. The reason why words are powerful and what you say, good or bad, is true is because anything that is verbally consented is a thought. So if you think of something, whether it's good or bad, it is true. Rather it is a lie, rather it's, what is it? I think fictionary or non-fictionary. So rather it's a form of imagination or something that is actually in your reality. And the reason why they're both true is because it resonates with you. So if I say I'm the most beautiful person in the world, I am. But if I also say I'm the ugliest person in the world, I am. Why? Because I am projecting that. Now, this is why it's important to accept where you are in your life and to learn to go with the flow, because a lot of our thoughts, if they're not coming from how we feel about ourselves, once again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It comes from our environments. It comes from the people that we are around. It comes from what we watch. It comes from what we eat. It comes from our form of entertainment. And if you're not aware that your environment, the people you're surrounding yourself with, the people that you're listening to, the people that you're watching have influence on you, you will not realize that what you feel about yourself is not necessarily coming from you and that it's not true. The reason why people doubt themselves is not because they lack awareness of themselves, but because other people. A lot of people have insecurities because of other people. A lot of people do not believe in themselves because of other people. Like I said, the word hate, nobody hates you. People do not like themselves. So if someone doesn't like themselves and they see you liking yourself, what they're going to do is express how they feel internally. And now, because you are listening or have been exposed to this energy, you now, if you're not aware of who you are inside, are going to doubt yourself, or you may question yourself. And that is a form of an illusion. It's not real. That's like fear. There is no such thing as fear. It's easier to identify and, once again, program individuals and species to be afraid of things that do not exist. If you want to learn how to ride a bike and you never learned how to ride a bike before, what are you afraid of? You are already now, and this is where anxiety and depression comes from, which is a big red flag, especially when it comes to our existence. Because if you never rode a bike before, and you already now, because you're listening to other people or you hear other people say things about riding a bike, you already now have worry. You are already now in a stage of being afraid, and you never rode a bike before. It's not until you do something that you never done that you realize that this is what the experience is. And unfortunately for me, it could be good or bad, but I've experienced enough in my life to realize that the things that you don't do are just situations that you've never been exposed to. You have nothing to be afraid of. You have nothing to be afraid of. You should not be afraid of a people, a person, or a thing. If you've never ridden a bike before and you're afraid to ride a bike, you're always going to have this lack mentality. You are now stressing yourself out and you never physically rode a bike. So you don't know what it is like. But if you have this mentality of lack already, the chances of you trying to ride a bike are 50-50. And the goal is to remove the 50-50 and accept yourself. That's like if someone calls you ugly. If you don't believe that you are beautiful and somebody says, hey, you're ugly, once again, now you have this mentality of feeling unworthy. You feel doubtful. You may now be upset. You may now feel discouraged. And once again, when it comes to environments and peoples and energies, you can't control that. Which now, if you can't control that and you allow a people or place or thing to affect your energy, you don't have control of yourself. And this is why a lot of people in the world are distracted. This is why a lot of people are depressed. This is why a lot of people have anxiety. And this is why a lot of people are also angry and feel as though that they are envious when all actuality there is no envy. People are either in love with themselves and they love everything unconditionally, or people are lost. There's no in between. There's no in between. You are lost or you are found. Once again, you have cause and you have an effect. So, what I want to suggest and advise as this month and this year continues to happen in the flesh is that we only worry about today. So, for example, now physically it is Monday, it's 12:01. How ironic is that? But I'm not going to get into that just today because now it's a new day. But you see how literally it went from being 12:30 to now it's Monday. That's the point that I'm trying to make to people. Not to be on man time because it's not real. How was I just talking at 11:32 and literally I looked up and now it says Monday 12:01, and when I go to sleep and I wake up it'll probably be 7 or 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The only thing that matters is where you are right now. Do not allow time to distract you. Do not allow energies and people and places and things to distract you. The best thing that I could suggest and advise as we're going through this era in life is to be isolated. Now, I know, once again, that may ruffle some feathers with people, but in order for you to know who you are and to free yourself supernaturally and not be in fear physically, emotionally, or financially, you have to be okay with being yourself. A lot of people suffer because they're not themselves. And once again, like I said, if you're not in love with yourself, you are lost. You don't hate yourself. You're not miserable. You're not bitter. You're confused. People lack knowledge. People are unaware of themselves. People think that they have to have things, that they need to be places, that they need to be somebody when you are yourself for free. The one thing that is guaranteed to everybody under this sun and the moon is your breath. You get to breathe for free. That is one thing that does not cost anything. Your breath. Now, if you stop breathing, then I would, feel some type of way. But if you stop breathing, that means you're no longer existing, which means you definitely have nothing to worry about. And it is very much that simple. But because of the hamster wheel, I would say the hamster wheel effect in life and society, people are so conditioned to be in a rush that they're burning themselves out. You do not have to rush to get anywhere in life that you're meant to be. Learning to accept that today and now is the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is where you are right now. Not 5 years, not 3 months. If, for example, yes, the physical month of April has already been programmed, just like any other month. But until it is the end of the physical month, technically speaking, the only thing that matters is right now. It's not April 31st or April 30th or however many days there are in April. It is April 4th, depending on where you live. And once again, if we all live underneath the same sun in the same moon, the time wouldn't different. The time is only different because of separation. Everybody equally lives in the universe. Nobody lives outside of the universe other than other species, which are not human beings. So I want to end off this video and just continue to suggest and advise that you learn to be in the present moment. I challenge anybody watching this video, whenever you watch this video, to learn to just be in the present moment. Don't worry about tomorrow if tomorrow hasn't happened. Do not worry about what's going to happen in 3 weeks if 3 weeks hasn't happened. That's why people are overwhelmed. That's why people have anxiety. That's why people have, irregular sleep patterns. Or these are all possibilities. I'm not saying specifically this is the only reason why, because people like to hear information and, hold it over people's head. But I don't have to worry about that because how people choose to process the information that I suggest and advise is for them. And because I am only here right now in life, this is how I'm going to continue to live my life. I don't need to worry about 10 years when the only thing that matters is it being now 12:07 a.m. Allegedly, and it's Monday, April 4th. So the more you, like I said, isolate yourself, the more you spend time with yourself, the more you figure out who you really are, the more grateful you will realize that your breath is everything that you need and that you want to love and not be lost. And if you're lost, it's okay. I'm here. Anybody who come across this page, anybody supporting me is also here too. And that what I want to suggest and advise is that you don't have to worry. And that it takes a lot to get to this place. Because I receive downloads every day, or physically every day. And I'm receiving downloads as I'm speaking right now. But like when I receive these downloads, not only is it confirmation, but it allows me to just understand like, wow, the hamster wheel effect. And this is what I'm going to use. I like to use examples like that because I feel like that's how I learn or that's how I interpret. And once again, I only suggest and advise and project how I interpret information. So, like, I too used to be a part of the hamster wheel effect until I've no longer pushed forward. And I had to realize that me being a hamster on a hamster wheel was something that was out of my control. If we're born as children and we're conditioned to be programmed, you're not going to realize that you have freedom and that being free, like infinite waters, or Ralph Smart would say, which I'm now starting to understand, is your actual birthright. I get that now. It makes sense. So if we're on a hamster wheel and we're constantly being programmed from Monday through Friday, Saturday through Sunday, December through January, majority of our lives, we don't realize that we don't have to be on a hamster wheel. You don't have to worry about 3 weeks or doing something that you never did if you never did it before. You don't have to feel like if you don't have certain things that you're less than. Why do you feel less than? Because you don't have certain things in your life. That's something I personally had to realize. Like, I want a new car. I want an apartment. I have a roof over my head. I don't go anywhere where I need reliable transportation. What am I upset about? No, I don't have a car. I don't have. Where in my life does it say, and where in your life does it say that you have to have these things? These are all things that we want. They're all desires. Now, of course, because we're living in a world that is majority physical and material, it doesn't mean that we can't experience these things, but it's not a need. When you were a little baby, did you have a car? If you had a car when you were a little baby, you are different. I'm just going to say that. But I've never met a baby who has a driver's license or who has an apartment. Our birthright is just us existing. But if we live in a society that makes us feel as though if we don't have a car, if we don't have an apartment, that we're not who we are, like I'm still Ty at the end of the day, just because I don't have a multi-million-dollar home, just because I don't have a Lamborghini. Like, why am I less than? Oh, because everybody else has. I'm not everybody else. I can't live anybody else's life other than mine. And until individually people learn to accept to live the life that is for them or make a difference, what could you do about it? There's no reason to stress yourself out about not receiving things that you don't have, especially if you don't understand really are they aligned with what you have. Like, one thing I've had to accept and realize is that just because you see people have things doesn't mean that these people are really blessed. Like, people can get gifts in a good way and people can get gifts in a bad way. To be very honest, one thing that I had to accept is that the people who people like to say are your enemies or your haters, these people do not care about themselves, so they care about me and they care about everybody else. If you can, what people say, pocket watch, if you can watch other people have what you have, you're not paying attention to your life. You're not. Because if you are paying attention to your life, what somebody else has and what somebody else does, how's that affecting you in any form or shape? Even if, let's just say, people like your neighbor was bragging and rubbing it in your face. Just because somebody is bragging and rubbing something in your face does not mean you have to react or respond. And this is where I want to go back with, and this is what I'm going to end off the video because now I just, like I said, I just came back to my thought process. Our reactions and our response, like I said in the beginning of this video, what you say and think is true. If somebody is bragging about having something that you don't have, first of all, I would say red flag. You don't want to be around people like that. Second of all, just because somebody is bragging about something that they have and you don't, doesn't mean that you have to engage. If you don't have something that somebody else has, what could you do about it? Because if that's not something that you want, and this is why I'm saying people spend so much time and energy caring about other people that they can't even care for themselves. If you want something that somebody else has, you have to be willing to put yourself in situations. And if you're not willing to put yourself in a situation, why does it matter if somebody is bragging? That's something I had to realize. Like the people, like I said, people who say enemies and haters, I've learned to accept these people. I've learned to accept the fact that I'm way more important to them than they feel about themselves. And me personally, because I'm aware that I don't need to, make them feel bad or call them out or treat people how they treat me. Because first of all, like I said, there's nobody I want to be other than myself. I don't want to be anybody other than myself. I'm grateful, even though this body that I'm in right now, it could be a lot better. I am grateful to be me. And the more you learn to be grateful to be you, the more you accept yourself. You're in this body for you, which means you live your life for you. And the more you learn to be in the present moment, the more you can be you. So, what it's going to take, physical time, yes, as well as awareness. And what I mean by being aware, because everyone is self aware. So, I'm going to use a different word. And I really do need to, I guess, start processing the words that I read from the dictionary so I can educate myself, even though it's a physical thing. I think that's what it is. So, like, I am so supernaturally and spiritually aligned, you guys. Like, things in the physical, it's just like, they're just physical and material items to me. But for people who are not as in tune, I'm learning to be, like I said, grounded and bear with them. But I don't want to say aware, but like, you just want to know who you are. So, acceptance. I'm just going to say acceptance. You got to learn to accept things. The more you can accept yourself, the more you can accept life, the more you accept things for what they are and not what you want them to be. So I'm going to go ahead and end off this video. Unless anybody comes in and out the chat, I want to say a big shout out to Bryson Jackson and everybody who stopped by today. I genuinely just want to say thank you so much, Bryson Jackson. You mean a lot to me. And the reason why Bryson Jackson means a lot to me is because you guys, Bryson Jackson has been riding with me ever since I've been posting videos. And that goes to all of my really genuine subscribers. People do not have to acknowledge or even, appreciate me as well as themselves. So the fact that I know that when I first started this channel or when I first had the thought of this channel, I was extremely depressed in 2017. I was 20 years old. And it wasn't until I was 22 years old when I started the physical channel in 2019. And during those times, I felt like I was alone. And then Bryson came along and let me know that one, there are other people in the world that exist and that are going through similar things as me. Just because I haven't gone through exactly what Bryson's gone through doesn't mean that we both don't experience suffering. And the goal that I had for this channel when I started was to allow people to know that they're not alone and that I'm not alone. So I just want to say thank you. Wasn't typing much, but I was listening the whole time. That's fine. So I just want to say thank you. And I genuinely mean that. And I genuinely do have a lot of love for Bryson. You don't, in my perspective, you don't have to sit here and show your appreciation by material items or just what I want to say is that I feel like love could be anything. So, like, the love that I have for Bryson is existing. Him existing and confirming that he too is another individual physically as well as spiritually allows me to know that we both don't need to be afraid, and that as long as Bryson is here to support me and support himself, I have the same energy and respect for him. Because Bryson and I are not the only two people, even though that would probably be cool if it was just the two of us, but that's not how the world works, you guys, for us to exist. That it's okay and that people need other people. Like, one thing that I've learned earlier from this lady is that people do need people in the world, like physically. That's why in America it's unfortunate, and it's all over the place, but you guys know I'm an American, so I talk my little crap. It's unfortunate how they divide us, because when people come together and people have support and people feel loved and appreciated, like I said, why would there be chaos? There's chaos because it's separation and division. If there's unity, why would people go against each other? If people knew that there were people to support them and love them and actually cared about them, why would people feel suicidal? Why would people feel depressed? Why would people think they're alone? Why would people think they're in competition? It's so many, you guys, it's just so many things, but I'm just going to say thank you. And I'm going to end off this video because it is now. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, the physical time, because I've learned to let that go, it does slightly burst my bubble just a little bit. It makes me cringe because it's just like, it's ridiculous. That's an opinion, you guys, but it's also my job to be, like I said, for the collective. Anybody who supports me, you support yourself. And because I know who I am, I'm letting the world know, in my collective know, because it's not my channel, it's our channel. It's just my physical name is on there. But I wouldn't have a channel if it wasn't for Bryson Jackson. That's why people need each other. We need to come together. My goal is, of course, not everyone in the world is going to support us, but we're people at the end of the day. My goal, and one thing I've always said, is that I do love everybody equally. I may not agree with everyone equally because everybody is their own person. Like, if I like grapes and you don't like grapes, I'm not gonna beat you up about it, and I'm not gonna, tell you that you're wrong if you don't like grapes. Unless I tell you to try them, I can't make somebody do something that they don't want to do. But I'm just here to support and let everyone know that I love everyone equally. But it's okay to have differences and disagree. But like, hate, the word does not exist. You either, like I said, are loving or you're lost. People don't hate you. People are not jealous of you. People, like, jealousy is an illusion. Like, you cannot be jealous of everybody if you're only one person. And what I mean by that is, if you are yourself physically and nobody looks like you, nobody does what you do, you cannot compete. That's why it's delusion, and that's why a lot of people don't realize that they're mad at themselves. There are no competitions in life. It's easy for the world to feel like that, especially in America, because that's the goal, is to divide the people and confuse people. So therefore people go back and forth, and it's like, for what? There is only one you. So how do you compete with somebody if you're the only person who exists? There are enough cars, there's enough money, there's enough houses, there's enough whatever you want, you can have in life. If you want to buy a house and you see someone buy a house, guess what? If there are 8 million people or 8 billion people in the world, that means there are over 8 million houses that people live in. You can have a house. There is enough for everybody to have. So don't feel like, or what I want to suggest and advise is the next time you feel like you're competing with someone or you think someone's in competition with you, just learn to take a step back and just ask yourself, how does this person feel? And this is something that I've done. Like, I've learned to forgive my enemies because I don't have enemies. I just realize a lot of people are lost. And because I love myself, people don't love themselves. And it's not my fault. That's why I'm here to educate. That's why I don't talk down on people. Like, I don't have to gossip about people. I don't have to bring other people down to feel good about. To be very honest, this is an opinion. I think it's very, like I said, it's disgusting. Why would I talk badly about somebody when I realize that they need help mentally? Because me as a person, I don't feel good about talking badly about other people. I don't care, to be honest, but I don't think it's important. And why would I spend my time and energy worrying about other people if I have, like I said, I have a doctor's appointment that I have to be at tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning. I have my own life. People have real problems that we go through every single day. That's what I'm saying. You can't worry about yourself and worry about other people. So learn to practice daily, learn to be in the present moment, and just don't give up on yourself. So I am going to end this video because now, like I said, this man time is just, it's so crazy, but it's crazy because the time physically is starting to catch up to all the bullshit that's been happening. Because how is it now 12:30 if it was just 12 o'clock? And I have not been talking. Like, yes, I've been talking, but if I was to put a timer on, the math is not mathing. I don't know if you guys are hip to that, but the math is not math. It's not giving what it's supposed to give, okay? But that's just because, like I said, it's a lot that's about to happen in the physical world that's been happening in the spiritual world for a long, long time. But until it comes to the surface, we just have to be in the present moment. So I want to say thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Live your life and don't forget to say YOLO, as well as follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter at Ty_guidance to stay up to date. I love everybody equally, but I do not agree with everyone equally, and that is okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Live your life and don't forget to say YOLO. Until next time.